guys, welcome back to our channel. Today I am coming in with a video showing you guys a full week of dinners. Starting out today, it is currently a Saturday. It'll start on a Saturday and on a Friday. So I'll be checking in pretty much every day of the week to show you guys what we make for dinners. And as you guys know, we try to follow kind of like a paleo based diet. I think for this week, everything that we should be making is pretty much paleo. If we use some other ingredients, I'll let you guys know like some other substitutes that you could use. But otherwise, we do mainly try to keep everything at the very least gluten free. And of course, before we get too deep into this video, if you aren't already following us on Instagram, go give us a follow, like and subscribe. So as I said, today is a Saturday. I am here with Nicholas, who's already in his apron because we're getting ready to cook. It is about 3 p.m. and tonight for dinner we're going to be doing a ham hock soup. So we always really look forward to this recipe, which we make once a year out of the ham hock that we have from a leg of ham at Christmas. The recipe is actually mostly inspired by this Pete Evans recipe in his family food cookbook. So I think we are going to get started. I'll show you all of the ingredients that we have out. So let's go. For this ham hock soup, we have 1/4 of a Jap pumpkin, about 3 stalks of celery, 2 turnips, we've got some garlic, 2 onions, some carrots, and then obviously our ham hock that we've left like a little bit of meat on the hock just so that there'll be like obviously a bit more meat in the soup. So normally when we make this soup, we also like to add in silver beet, which is really nice. Also zucchini is a part of the recipe as well. However, because of the virus that shall not be named, there is some food shortages going on at the moment in like our regular Woolies Coles, so they don't actually have a great stock of vegetables at the moment, so we're just working with what we can get. It's a little bit more simple than usual, so if you have like silver beet or zucchini, those two would go really nicely in there as well, but we will be fine with what we have.
I feel like we need to like clarify, it's not food shortages, it's delivery driver shortages.
Delivery driver shortages. Anyway, that's totally fine. We're gonna get started with the recipe. So I'm gonna start by chopping up our carrots, onions, celery and garlic and get those sweating in our pot. So I have about 6 carrots here. I'm just going to cut them up really small. Gonna chop up these garlics, but Nick has a new trick for how to quickly open garlics, because de-skinning garlics is my major like pet peeve. I hate doing it. I look a bit threatening with this knife, but Nick has like a whole method now, so you can...
Not my method. Yeah, watched somebody do it.
So you cut off the butt and then let's see the whole process.
Usually you'd like squash it, but like you can just, if you go and just smack it, it kind of shocks the garlic, and then you should be able to like just quite easily
How's it
peel
different
it
to
off.
squashing it?
Well, squashing it kind of doesn't, I mean like this one didn't really, it works better. This one doesn't look so great, but I swear it works better. Ignore me because this is clearly not working on camera. I swear to you,
the pressure has gotten to him.
I swear to you, this normally works. This is slightly embarrassing now. Maybe you need to smack it a little bit harder or a bit.
Smack it harder. Okay, 2, 3.
No, you're not.
I kind of smooshed it.
That's easier.
That was pretty easy. Alright, so we have our chopped up carrot, onion, celery and garlic. It's all looking very colourful. I've just popped those on the stove top. We're going to let that sweat down a little bit before we add in our other vegetables and our ham hock. And we're also going to add in a little bit of ghee as well. But of course, if you don't do any dairy, you could swap this for coconut oil. That would also be great, but we love our ghee at the moment.
So we're going to have to put the lid on that and let that cook down at a low temperature over a longer period of time, just to let it properly develop all the flavours and sweat down. Normally we wouldn't really use the red onions in soup, it's just that they literally have no brown onions. People mustn't like red onions.
I like red onions. I never use the brown onions.
They do have a different flavour though. They are kind of a bit sweeter and more suited for a salad than a soup and stuff, not necessarily savoury.
But because of the colour, I feel like they are probably higher in phytochemicals, a little bit better for you.
This feels like a good chef, bad chef. I'm all about the flavor. You're all about all the health.
So at this point, I think we're gonna do like a little bit of a tag team. You have to tag in. Be tagging in, sir. Nick tags in, and he is going to chop up some of the rest of the vegetables, so our pumpkin and our turnips specifically, while those kind of sweat off, and we'll pop them in a little bit later. We're also having a few little drinks, so I have some kombucha in my wine glass. And Nick has a glass of red. But anyway, catching up to where we're at. So we're gonna let the vegetables sweat off for a little bit longer, then we're going to add in our ham hock and our broth. So we wanna cover it all with broth. We have about a gazillion jars of chicken broth that we made earlier. If it's not quite enough liquid, we'll also add in a bit of water, but I think technically it calls for 3 liters of chicken stock.
It's looking nice and translucent. Celery and the onion, so we'll probably start putting in our ham hock and broth. So we don't want to fill it up too high because some of this should like cook down, which is great because we're going to boil it for about an hour, hour and a half, and that'll like loosen up all the meat. But we're also going to be putting in all the turnip and the pumpkin at some stage, so you don't want to fill it up too high, otherwise you'll end up having to cook it all the way down or scooping some out and having to deal with that. Just going to throw in some bay leaves, some cloves, about 4 of them, and a bit of sage.
Alrighty, so it has been about an hour and a half just cooking that ham hock, and now we're about to pop in our pumpkin and parsnip. Turnip. I did it. I knew it. I've probably been saying parsnip the whole time.
I have taken off my apron and I feel like I need to put it back on because I'm wearing a white shirt. There's soup here and I'm about to dump some more veggies in and there's gonna be splashes.
There's gonna be an accident.
So we'll cook that for about another half an hour.
Okay, and our soup is all done. I'm gonna leave the hock in there and we can kind of just pick around it. But otherwise we're ready to eat.
Depending on how salty the hock is, you might need to add more or less salt.
Okay. Alright, happy Monday guys. I have just wrapped up with a client, so it's a little bit later. It's about 7 p.m. I'm gonna say. I've been talking a lot and my voice is pretty dead. So tonight we are gonna keep things pretty simple. We're just gonna do like a steak and vegetable sort of meal. So if you guys missed our last vlog, I was mentioning that we did an order for some 100% grass-fed and finished beef from Mulaney. So we're using some of that beef tonight. So we have 2 rump steaks, probably a little bit big for me. So any extra I'll just cut up and leave for like lunch tomorrow. And then in terms of vegetables, so I'm gonna do a big sweet potato. I'm just gonna roast that in our little air fryer. And then in terms of vegetables tonight, we have some bok choy, asparagus, which is really good because it's a good source of healthy prebiotics that feed your gut bugs. And we also have some mushrooms. So I'm just gonna saute all these 3 in a pan, cook up the steaks, get the sweet potato going first, and that is gonna be dinner. In terms of when I'm laying out my meals, I look for at least 20 grams of protein, like a good whole food carbohydrate source, and then some non-starchy vegetables. So we're just gonna get this cooking, and then in a little bit we'll add in some coconut aminos for some flavor. So we have dinner all done. So we've got our sweet potato that's cooked off in the air fryer, veggies, steak, which is hopefully well cooked. Yeah, that is dinner. So It is Tuesday. Tonight we are keeping things again relatively simple. We are going to grill off some salmon fillets, and then in terms of the vegetable spread tonight, we have a cauliflower and some white potatoes that I'm going to boil and turn into a mash. So if you watched one of our previous vlogs, we were doing this for a dinner as well. But we've been really into doing like a combination of cauliflower and white potato mash. For people that hate cauliflower mash, hear me out. Doing like a combination with some white potatoes really makes it a lot more palatable. So that means that you are getting like a little bit of carbohydrate from the potatoes and you're getting a little bit of extra goodness from the cauliflower. Also on the side, I'm just gonna saute some asparagus. That is pretty much it tonight. So I'm gonna get started. For the cauliflower potato mash, I am going to do 5 white potatoes and half of a full head of cauliflower. So this will probably also last longer than just one meal. So we'll probably have a bit for dinner tomorrow night as well. If you're going to this much effort, you wanna make sure that you're making a decent sized batch. So I'm actually going to add in another quarter of cauliflower because we've got a bit more room in our pot. So I'm just going to finish off this mash. I'm going to add in some grass-fed butter, which is really important. Obviously you can skip this step if you're trying to keep things dairy-free, but I would highly recommend. And then also just some salt and pepper. And Billy also loves asparagus. Can you do a down? Bang bang! Oh, good girl. Okay, so the salmon is all cooked. Pretty simple meal, but it's going to be super tasty, and it also means that we have some cauliflower mash left over for lunches or dinner tomorrow. So super easy, super healthy. Hello, Wednesday. We are
alive.
We are alive. Because it's hump day, we are having a little cheeky drink while we make dinner. Tonight is a little bit all over the place. We have kind of like a few odds and ends in the fridge. We didn't really plan super well this week. And as I said in the beginning, the shops have just been really bare. So in terms of veggies tonight, we have some bok choy, a little bit of cauliflower left, and also a random beetroot. And we've also got some of our cauli mash as well. So we've kind of got a bit of a hodgepodge of vegetables going on using up what's in the fridge. And then in terms of a protein source tonight, I'm going to be making some rissoles. So this will span over tonight and tomorrow night, so Wednesday, Thursday. So I probably won't show what we eat tomorrow because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. So we have about 500 grams of mince from our freezer. And then I'll show you all of the other ingredients that I'm going to use specifically for the patties slash rissoles. But first I'm just going to get some of these vegetables roasting, so our beetroot and our cauliflower. We'll get those started and then get on to making the rissoles. Nick is going to put together the rissoles. The two things that we're missing that we would normally put in our rissoles, so we don't actually have any chicken liver on us. I think the butcher actually has been closed for quite a while over like the New Year period, so we need to buy some chicken livers in bulk. But normally you can add like at least 4 or 5 chicken livers into this recipe and they're like pretty well disguised. The other thing is that we're missing fresh herbs, which we would normally like to throw in there, like some coriander or some parsley would be nice.
Then in goes the onion. I'm gonna pop in some oregano, a few mustard seeds, some garlic granules. If you've got some fresh garlic, you can use some of that too. And for a bit of extra flavour and tang, a wallop of mustard. We're just using Dijon. You could opt for seeded mustard instead of just Dijon mustard if you want to get like that, the tanginess but also the seeds in there. We didn't have any of that, so doing a bit of both. Then just get in there with your hands. Actually, Amy, do you want to add some salt and pepper? No need to measure, just eyeball everything. And just kind of separate them out into portions. It's always easier to just work in halves. So half for tonight, half for tomorrow. And you should be able to make at least 8 patties.
Okay, so we have our dinner. Not like the most colourful plate in the world, but there is still lots of goodness in here. So we have our rissoles, we have our cauliflower and our beetroot, and then our cauliflower white potato mash. We decided against doing the bok choy because we felt like there was enough going on already. A bit random, but... And then I'm also going to put on a little bit of this good fat chili mayo. So this is like an olive oil based mayo. Got like a little bit of spice, which makes it pretty nice with like rissoles or sausages or really anything. Yeah, that is tonight's kind of random throw together dinner. And it is finally Friday. Getting straight into it, tonight for dinner we are keeping things, again, really simple. I feel like this week we've done like a lot of very basic meals. So not a lot of recipes, so hopefully if we do like some more of these types of videos, we'll share like more proper recipes. But I think that even this kind of thing is good just for showing, you know, like what our general layout of meals is. As we mentioned like earlier in the week, because there's a lot of shortages, we've just had like a really hard time getting a diversity of different vegetables. But tonight we managed to snaggle zucchini. So we have some zucchinis, some mushrooms that we're going to do on the barbecue with some salmon, and then I'm also just going to cook some sweet potatoes. So we're going to be doing most of tonight's dinner on the barbecue. I'm going to get straight into it. Okay, so we have all of our veggies and our salmon going on the barbecue. Super easy way to kind of do everything in one, and it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so we are just gonna sit down, eat our dinner, and I might as well bring this video to a close. So if you enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I can definitely do some more dinner themed videos in the future. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.